Look right into my face. I'm going to talk directly into your face. Young people, Gen Z, especially Gen Z. I was born in 1964 and I turned 60 this year, August 6th. There are things that happened before you were born. It's called history. I've been a journalist 30 years, February 1994. Believe it or not, I celebrated 30 years this year. I didn't have any celebrations or party, but it looks like in 2 months it'll be February again. And that means I'm going to be 31 years in this profession. If you know me very well, you know I brag all the time about my degrees because education is power. And let me tell you what journalism is, it's a rough draft of history. So if you're Gen Z, I have one who's 24, Rich KJT, is right here on TikTok as well. Listen to this. I'm not talking about the millennials. Let me talk to the Gen Z. If you were born in 1999 and upwards, many bad things happened in the world, and one of them was apartheid. Apartheid was worse than slavery. Let me tell you why I said that. Apartheid was worse than slavery. Slavery happened before I was born. But as a journalist, journalism is a rough draft of history. And when you look at history, it shapes the past and the future. And it also shapes the present. From what I've looked at, there's some things called slavery, modern slavery today, which is still going on. So why are we not arresting people and calling it illegal? Some countries are arresting people. Smuggling of humans. Something that people were preventing, and they were being forced to enter slave ships and taken to the Americas. Today, people are actually entering ships and getting on the Mediterranean to reach Europe through Libya for a better life. Now, let me ask you a question, South Africans, with the hate going on. If your parents and your grandparents have not told you about apartheid, Nigeria was the one that rescued you from the hands of the white South Africans who oppressed you. I've never been to your country, but today's white South Africans are not the same as the ones that performed this apartheid thing. I'm not saying they're all the same now or they're all different now. There's always going to be a racist or a tribalist every country. But you need to know the history of this thing called apartheid. Because what you guys are displaying now called xenophobia, it's been there forever in many countries. Xenophobia is a hate of foreigners. What you guys are displaying now is very disturbing because most of you that are really doing this xenophobia are blacks. You're black South Africans. You're the ones we fought for. President Obasanjo fought for apartheid and he spent at least 2 billion. 2 billion naira. At that time, 2 billion naira was $2 billion. Imagine, for one country. Go ask Nelson Mandela. He's not around anymore. Go read your history books. Nigeria took history away from the curriculums, which I hated and I protested. And this is why no one must remove history, because some of us lived it. Nigeria spent a lot of money freeing South Africa. There was a lot of countries behind all the whole freedom thing. Europe, UK, America, everywhere, but we spent the most money and the most time. There were people who fought for you within your own country. If you've ever heard of Miriam Makeba, she sang songs. Nigerians, if you've ever heard of Sonny Okosun, he sang and sang. Fela sang. Today, blacks in South Africa are hating on Nigerians. That's a no-no. Go learn the history of your country, young people. It is very, very important. Some of the stuff I saw during apartheid, people that were killed just because they were black. Blacks could not vote in South Africa. Oh, all that time, I remember when we went to the polls, by the time we got to the democracy part, we were mostly military at that time, but they had this democratic thing. They could not even vote because they were black. And some blacks looked like whites. Maybe they were mixed and they couldn't vote because they had the black in them. The world used to be full of hate, much more hate. Today, things should have changed. When I go to Ghana and I visit Ghana, I always tell the young people in Ghana, I happened to be in Ghana during the time they were having that democracy thing and then Kwame Nkrumah Day. And this is what I tell young Ghanaians. You see all those people that Lieutenant Colonel Rawlins executed. I don't know the ranks, maybe I said it wrong. But everyone that Rawlins executed in that room, the army generals, the Supreme Court judges, including women, there was a nursing woman in one of those judges. Everybody he eliminated. The deaths of those people is what gave you the democracy you're enjoying today. I tell Ghanaian youth that. This democracy you're enjoying, this 24-hour light you're enjoying, people died to get you that. So think well when you're hating on Nigerians. We're 200 and something million. And we are the giant of Africa. We will remain the giant of Africa. We may not have light. We may not have some of the things you have, but we will get there. I wouldn't be here in 40 years. I may be 100, but in 50 years, I wouldn't be here. That I know. Who knows? I might be 110. But I'm telling you proactively and sensibly that even if I'm not here, there will be a time when all this stuff will not be around. So think about it well. Don't teach your children hate. Don't teach yourselves hate. South African youth, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. On the day I arrive in your country, everything stops. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. On the day I land in South Africa, everything at the airport stops because I have gotten there. Dr. Kemi is here. Stop the hate. I wouldn't do another video. I've done one already. This would be my last one. And young people, finally, I want you to think about this very well. At the beginning of my video, I described slavery. People forcibly taken from their families and taken to the Americas. The Americas today is United States, Canada, and also South America. This is why you see black people some places in Brazil, Peru, and all that. When I asked the questions to Ghanaian youth while I was in Ghana, if I brought a slave ship today, I wouldn't call it a slave ship, but if I docked a ship in Tema, Ghana, and I had a bullhorn and I announced that we're going to America to work. We're going to America to work. We need construction workers. We need builders. And we're not paying. We're going to work in America. We're not paying you. How many people do you think will get on that ship? You know what the Ghanaian youth told me? All of us are coming on that ship. They did hear what I say, that we're not paying. Is that not what happened during slavery? But they didn't announce. They just took people at their will. Black people, black slaves, built the White House, where the United States president lives till today. You got to think about why we have Black History Month in the U.S. But at the end of the day, many of you don't want to think about your ancestors, your forefathers, and what they went through. You're busy with social media. We didn't have social media when I was your age. My son always asked me, what did you do at the doctor's office while you were waiting to be called? We watched the TV up there, playing a dry Hollywood movie or Nollywood movie. What did you do on the highway? We listened to the radio. There were things we did in those days, and it didn't turn out like this. So please, preserve your mental health and always remember the past, because it shapes the future. The past shapes the future and even your present. Stop the hate.